Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Karen Cross, CEO of the Greater Kingston Chamber of Commerce. We're once again pleased to be partnering with St. Lawrence College for our annual Community College Update. St. Lawrence College has a unique perspective on our community, the local workforce, and our economy. And here with us today is College President and CEO Glenn Vollebregt to share his insights. I would love to thank St. Lawrence College not only for presenting today, but for sponsoring this event, but for continued support for our many programs. Now I'll turn it over to Jessica to say a few more words.
Perfect. Thank you, Karen. So we have an exciting presentation planned for you today, but before we get started, I would also like to say thank you to our title sponsor, St. Lawrence College. They offer more than 100 full-time programs on their campuses in Kingston, Brockville, Cornwall, and online, including fast-track delivery, graduate certificates, and four-year degrees. Their international partnerships and articulation agreements mean students can take their St. Lawrence College education further with opportunities around the world. So kindly note that today's session is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel later this afternoon. We have a lot of time for questions at the end of the session, but encourage you to enter your questions in the Q&A as we go along. Now, I would like to introduce our speaker for today. Glenn Vollebregt began his tenure as President and CEO of St. Lawrence College in 2013. With a strong student focus and commitment to student success, academic excellence, and leadership in our communities. In addition to a broad and diverse range of senior leadership experience in the private sector, municipal government, and higher education, Glenn holds a Master's of Science in Public Policy and Management from the University of London, UK, a Certified Public Accountant designation, and a business diploma from Georgian College. In addition, Glenn recently earned the ICDD designation from the Institute of Corporate Directors and Rotman School of Management, University of Toronto. Please join me in welcoming Glenn.
Great, thanks. Thanks so much, Jessica, and thank you, Karen. It's always a pleasure to be able to host the annual fall update. You know, I was thinking, Jessica, when you said an exciting presentation, so I hope I can deliver on that. I was thinking back that the fall chamber sort of provides us with, you know, it's sort of like a milestone for us. And if you recall, for those of you that have been coming to the chamber events, 5 years ago, we hosted it in a parking lot, if you'll recall. We were out in the parking lot out front because we were building a new venue center. The year after that, we were in the new venue center. And if you'll recall that I think we got our occupancy permit about an hour before breakfast was served. And then, you know, the year after that, we actually had it in the venue center. And then our team was adamant that I did not give a presentation last year. And, you know, so obviously it was so memorable that they all remembered it, obviously, and it was so exciting because I actually did give a presentation last year. So hopefully this one will be, this one will hit the mark. Next slide, Jessica. So I'd like to begin today's presentation with a land acknowledgement. You know, of course, this week is an important one as we mark our first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. And I would encourage folks who are seeking any resources or ways on how to participate to visit our SLC EDI page on our website. So to start today, I just want to acknowledge that St. Lawrence College is situated on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples, and may we always be grateful to live and learn on these lands. Next slide. You know, for folks that know me, you know, I usually like to start a presentation with a smile or a good quote, and usually I turn to my Toronto Maple Leafs for a little bit of humor. But I got to tell you, I'm still smarting over last year's playoffs, so I can't do it. So I don't know if folks have seen this show. I think it recently cleaned up at the Emmy Awards, but it's Ted Lasso. And if you haven't seen it and you have a half hour to spare, I encourage you to tune in. It's probably one of the happiest shows in the world that we could all use right now in terms of its positivity. So next year I will do a Leaf joke, I promise. Hopefully it will be because they won the cup, but anyway. Next slide. So I thought what I would do is just share a little refresher about the college for those of you that are new or just need a little bit of a refresher. Very, very brief on our strat plan. I promise to be quick so that your eyes don't glaze over. I'm just then going to shift to SLC and our Kingston community and share a little bit about what's on the horizon and leave lots of time for questions. Next slide. So Jessica talked a little bit about this actually in the intro, so I don't need to go all through this. And this slide's probably about a year old, but I think it, it demonstrates the breadth of what we are about, and the impact that we're essentially your community college. Most folks know that we have a campus in Kingston, Brockville, and Cornwall, but you may not know that we also have campuses in Toronto with our partner Alpha International Academy, and in Vancouver with our partner Canadian College. We're also just about to launch SLC Plus, which includes our part-time courses, micro-credentials, corporate training, and personal growth and general interest programs. So you're getting an early heads up. There'll be something coming out a little later this week on that. So watch for that exciting news. Yes, we have over 100 full-time programs, anything from apprenticeship, 1-year certificates, 2- and 3-year diplomas, 4-year degrees, including our very own first standalone nursing degree, which we just launched this fall. We have 240 first-year nurses stretching across our campuses from Kingston to Brockville and Cornwall. We also offer grad certs, which are very popular with university and college grads. And, of course, all of these programs, or at least the vast majority of these programs, have a work integrated learning opportunity, experiential learning experience labs, that type of thing, which, as we all know, is such a huge part of a college education. We're about 10,000 full-time students, including 2,000 international. Now, 2,000 international students was pre-COVID. We're down to about 1,000 now, but we'll see that number pick up very shortly over the next year, I'm sure. We employ about 1,200 folks, and we've been around since 1967, which is, yes, that's the last time the Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup. So 54 years old now, or 54 years young, I should say, and we've had over 100,000 grads. We recently completed a very successful fundraising campaign, our Uncommon campaign, where we surpassed our $12 million goal in just 3 years of a 5-year campaign. And then a stat that I like to trot out as well is based on an independent economic impact study. SLC has an impact in our Eastern Ontario region of close to $1 billion annually of economic impact, 844 million, and I'll use presidential math to round that up to $1 billion. Next slide, please. So it has been a while since we've gathered as a group, and we've had many changes at our senior team. So I thought I would just take a moment to introduce our team. On the top left of your screen, depending on which way you're looking at it, is Megan Shepard. Megan is our Senior VP of Corporate Services, and Megan came to us from Queens, and she's been with us for roughly about 18 months. Dr. Eileen DeCourcy is our Senior VP Academic, and she's on the bottom left. Eileen's been with us for about, I think Eileen's just about to celebrate her 2-year anniversary, and she came from Humber. Kathy O'Brien is our Senior VP Strategy, Comms, and Advancement, and Kathy's also about to celebrate her 2-year anniversary, and she also came to us from Queens. Dr. Shelley Ellsworth on the top middle is our VP of, Shelley Ellsworth Spink, sorry, is our VP of Global Engagement. And Shelley's been in this role for about 18 months. So you're seeing some commonality here. Most of these folks have joined in the last 2 years. Prior to that, Shelley was our Associate Dean, School of Business, and prior to that, she also came from Queens. So, there is a little bit of Queens connection here. Perhaps they're a farm team for our talent, who knows? But a good partnership and connection with Queens. On the bottom is Dr. Michael Cook. who's our interim VP of Student Affairs, and we lured Michael out of retirement. He was a long time in academia with George Brown as their VP. And then you see myself at the top. I'm going into my 10th year as president and CEO, and just recently signed a 5-year extension. So I'll be around for another 6 years or so. And then you'll see that we also are recruiting for a VP of Belonging, HR, and OD, as our previous VP of HR, Chris Garnett, recently left us to go back to healthcare in a similar role with Cornwall Community Hospital. Next slide, please. Okay, getting strategic, and I promise to be quick on this, but I think it is important to share a bit of what we're doing on our strat plan. We're in our 3rd year now of SLC and 5, and many of the things that we do have an impact on our community. This, one of the proudest things I feel about this last strat plan was our new value of belonging. And really, this is a shared goal between St. Lawrence, the City of Kingston, the Chamber, all of us who are trying to strengthen our community. A few weeks ago, we launched our Belonging and EDI multi-year plan to address this in all 3 of our communities. And you can find that on our website as well. But, our Mayor Patterson, City Council, and recently elected Mark Gerritsen, congratulations, Mark. Everyone's been very intentional about creating a welcoming city that cares and provides for the needs of our residents. And SLC attracts about 5,000 students to the community every fall. And as you know, we ideally want to keep our students here living and working when they graduate. Next slide, please. The other priorities, I'm not going to get into these. PeopleSoft upgrade project, not very exciting, but very necessary. And any of you that have ever done an enterprise system upgrade know what I'm talking about. It's a money pit. Number 2, in terms of program design, development, delivery, really excited about that. And I'm going to share some of the new programs that we got underway, which I think the community will find very interesting. Of course, our Indigenous ways of knowing and being is a major strategic objective for us this year. I think we're all talking about the future of work and what that looks like. You'll notice I'm in my home office today. I've actually been going into the campus most days, but I'm off to Toronto today for some in-person meetings, which we were chatting earlier, which is so strange because I really haven't done that in about 18 months. So looking forward to my first VIA ride. And then, of course, our sustainability plan, which is such a big part of Kingston, and it's so important for us as a college as well. Next slide, please. So this is an interesting slide. And what do all these folks have in common? And I'm sure the Chamber folks will recognize this, and the people on the screen will recognize this. And that's all of these folks have been nominated for an upcoming Chamber Award at the Annual Business Awards of Excellence. But the other thing that's common about all of these folks is that they are SLC grads. And, I just bear with me for a second, but, Tommy Hunter graduated in hotel and restaurant management. Jimmy received an honorary diploma from us in 2020. Jeff graduated from motor vehicle mechanic, Laura from business admin, HR, Amanda, early childhood education, Greg from civil engineering, David Logan, civil engineering as well in 2020, and of course, Matt Day from hotel and restaurant management. So, I was personally very, very excited about this and very proud for a couple of reasons. One, these are all incredible folks that have done amazing things in our community, and just to be nominated is an achievement in itself, as we all know. But I'm also very proud because they're SLC grads. And the third reason is because they're here, right? And that's what we talk about all the time. Our SLC grads stay here, live here, and contribute to the vitality of our community. And I think this slide sums it up quite well, actually. Next slide, please. Again, just in terms of SLC by the numbers for Kingston, close to 5,000 students here, 891 are international. Again, that number will be approaching 1,500 to 2,000 in a couple of years once things open up again. We have had 72,000 students graduate from our Kingston campus over our 54-year history. 32,000 are within a bike ride of Kingston. 32,000, that's pretty incredible. And the balance are scattered mainly about 80% between here and Cornwall. So pretty neat impact in terms of what our grad impact is. Next slide, please. So, in terms of you can't do a presentation without doing an update on COVID and where things are at. First of all, I do have to thank our public health office. They have been phenomenal during this time, and you can see Dr. Moore and Dr. Hugh Gwen as well since Dr. Moore left, and every step of the way for us has always been working not only with our ministry but with these folks. And I can share with you that even though Dr. Moore is now in the big job in Toronto, if you text Dr. Moore in 5 minutes, he gets back to you. It's incredible, actually. And my colleagues around the system constantly are envious of the relationship that Kingston has had with their medical officer. So these two folks have been an incredible help. That 90% is our SLC community. So I think this was as of Friday or Monday. I'm not sure. I don't have the latest stats, but we're over 90% of our SLC population has attested that they are fully vaccinated, and that's fantastic. We started collecting proof of vaccinations yesterday, and so we expect that number to just climb over the next week or so. At SLC, I think we were the second college in Canada to adopt a vaccine policy after Seneca, who was way out in front a couple months ago. Soon, almost all institutions followed suit, and then the ministry, of course, mandated it. But very, very proud of the work that our team at SLC, our health and safety teams, our faculty, our support staff, our management team have done to make our campuses safe. And we've been open since COVID began. With labs and those types of things. We've had 19 cases across our 3 campuses in 18 months, 11 of those in Kingston. So our campuses have been very, very safe, and they're safe because of the great work that our people have done. Next slide, please. In terms of some of the programming that I was talking about, which is directly connected to our strat plan, we've got a number of exciting projects on the horizon. Most of these, if not all of these, will be in place for the 22-23 academic year. So we're starting a new cybersecurity course, 3D animation, mechatronics, a new business degree program, serious game development, a paramedic program, a bridge to our nursing degree, and of course we hope to be offering 3-year degrees, as you've heard me speak about that many times in the past, and we are making a push to government to allow our college to offer our 3-year diplomas as 3-year degrees. So again, incredible work done by Eileen and her fantastic team. This is a lot of programs, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of research and a lot of background work in order to launch these programs, and can't wait to get these on board. It will attract not only students from our region, but from all over the country and the world. Next slide, please. We just recently announced our new Indigenous centers in honor of our elder, Helena Nouveau, who's our new knowledge keeper in residence. And there was a great piece on Global, I think, last week And Helena, for those of you who have met Helena, she's just a phenomenal person, and we're really, really excited to have her on as our knowledge keeper. We are also planning a number of activities for this Thursday, which which is the first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. And this is all part of our Indigenous ways of knowing and being multi-year objective. The other two photos are pretty cool mobile lab units. And this is something that we've worked with government on. And our team has two independent mobile units. So, if you can't come to the college will come to you. And both of these trailers, one trailer focuses on trades and skills in carpentry, electrical and welding. We have some VR components in there and small tools, and we take it to communities and allow people to try out the lab and try out their skills in the trades and ask their questions to our faculty and our support team that's there. It really builds some excitement within the community and introduces folks to these programs that may really not understand what they're about. The second one is more of an independent living care assistant. So again, focuses on skills related to personal care and food services and again, all kinds of good equipment in the trailer that we're taking those programs out to the community. So I'm pretty excited actually to hook one up to the back of my truck and take it out. Wherever we go with these trailers, it always attracts interest in a large crowd. So again, keep a watch out for those trailers. It's pretty exciting stuff that's happening in there. And again, exposing folks to programs that they may not be familiar with. And that brings me to the last slide, which is, again, appreciate it, Karen and Jessica, for allowing us to present a little bit about our college and talk a little bit about SLC and our contribution to the community. And now would be pleased to open it up to folks for questions.
Perfect. I'm going to stop the screen share, and anyone can enter their questions into the Q&A that you'll find at the bottom of your screen. And once they do, we can start answering. If you would prefer to ask your question aloud, just comment that into the chat or the Q&A as well, and we can just give you the allow to talk permission.
Looking forward, Karen, to being able to do this on site next year.
You and me both. It just will be so exciting to have everyone in the room together again.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. One thing I would like to ask, Glenn, can you elaborate any more on what the college is doing on Thursday for Truth?
Yeah, we're going to be having a number. We're going to be having a number of workshops on campus, as well as folks sharing a video, our faculty sharing a video in class, recognizing and honoring the day. It's an important day to pause and pay reflection. And so that's what we'll be doing. We'll be doing this Thursday. So having ceremonies at each of our Indigenous centers as well.
Looks like we've got a shy group this morning. No questions.
You're letting me off. You're letting me off easy here.
I say that usually doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say too, if anyone has a question that they prefer not to be read aloud in a recorded format, you can always send your question to us afterwards, and we'd be happy to pass that along to Glenn and his team. But we hope that, some people will contribute questions. Oh, we've got one here actually. Okay, perfect. So the first question, would you share the video with the community?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Thanks, Martin. Okay. We'll probably, I would imagine by sharing it with the community, we'll have it on our website. That would be the easiest way to do it.
So we have another question, and this one is, what is the best way for businesses to access your students for the workforce?
Yeah, no, great, great question. So there's a number of ways you can do this. Actually, you can you can send me a note if you want. I can usually connect you to the right person. But one of the ways to do it is also to connect with our associate deans of the school of in our various schools. You know, we have, as you can imagine, with over 100 programs, there are all kinds of types of skill sets that our students have. We're always looking for ways to provide them a work integrated learning opportunity, and that's, you know, again, that's what makes college what makes college so great. So you can connect with either my office, which will connect you to the right folks. You can connect with Dr. John Conrad as well, who will get you hooked up with the right program, or any of our associate deans. And again, all of that would be on our website.
Perfect. Thank you for that. I think
that's there we go.
We've got another question here. This one coming from Sunita. How are international students succeeding post-graduation from SLC? I see many of them in other survivor jobs that are unrelated to their education.
Yeah, thanks, Sunita. You know, I think we're making some progress on that, and there's no question that we need to do a better job on that. We've recently just hired a manager of community development for this very purpose, and it's to connect our communities with our international students. And this was actually made possible by a very an anonymous but very donor that has provided us the opportunity to have this position, so that we can have our students when they graduate go into related fields. And you know, it's something that we're going to pilot for a couple of years. We just made a hire, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results of this, because I think it's, you know, it's twofold. We need to help our community understand how to access the talent from our international students, and we need to connect our international students to the community. So I'm pretty excited about getting this program underway. Sunita, if you want any more information on that, you can contact Shelley Ellsworth Spink, and she can provide you with more information on that.
Wonderful. And we've got another question here, this one coming from Martin. Post-pandemic, do you see more learning transitioning to online learning, or do you see learning returning to predominantly in-person learning? Can you also comment on the effects of the pandemic on SLC culture?
Yeah, no, great question. So, you know, if you looked at our strat plan before the pandemic, it was talking about all different kinds of ways of program modalities. And so the pandemic has actually just sort of fast-tracked a lot of that, especially at the very beginning when we virtually had to shift everything online. But the reality is, I see all different types of modalities being used post-pandemic. We've had some great success in providing access to online programming. On the other hand, we've seen some of the downside of that as well, in terms of students wanting to be on campus. So we're looking at probably a combination and a mix. And the reality is that's the way it was always going to be. I don't think you want to have one component only. So some programs, some courses, I should say, within programs lend themselves very well to an online experience, very well. Others not so much. And so, you know, again, college is about learning by doing, hands-on experiential learning, and that can be accomplished in a virtual format as well, especially with VR and those types of things. But I think what you're going to see is a lot more, you know, some of the programming being online that can just sort of, you know, it's fairly standard in terms of the learning base or the theory base of it, and then the hands-on application base being on campus. And so it is a mix. And I think that's what you're going to see in the future. And that's essentially what we were planning to do pre-COVID. And we've made some incredible developments in terms of a virtual online experience. I also think you're going to see mixed blend delivery, right? So where you have some students in class, and we actually provide some of that programming right now. Some of our students are in class, our faculty is in class, and we have students all over the world also participating in that same class in terms of a high flex type of program delivery. It's pretty amazing stuff, and it opens up college to the world, right? And it opens up access as well. So it's a bit of a mix. In terms of the second part of your question, the effects of the pandemic on SLC culture, I think it's interesting. We're back on campus right now. We have about 50% of our students on campus. And it's so nice to be able to walk the halls, to see people that you haven't seen in a long time other than a Zoom or a Teams screen, and to meet new people. We've hired probably 60 or 70 folks during the pandemic whom I've only met in a virtual world. In terms of our students want to be back. I can share an example of that. We had our first year orientation online. So it was online from 10:30 till, let's say, noon. And this happened at all three of our campuses. And then we hosted an on-campus, sort of like a fair in terms of the support services that are offered, pizza, refreshments, that type of thing, activities outside in a safe manner. We had, at least at the Kingston campus, I think we had about 700 folks literally go from their computer screens wherever they were to the Kingston campus. And if you would have seen our front lawn, it was packed. All in a safe, responsible manner, people distancing, people wearing masks even outside, but they wanted to be on campus. You could just sort of feel the energy. We're also starting to see that energy come back with our sports teams, which we had a fantastic week in sports this week, and you can feel the energy of students being back on campus. So, I think we're like many businesses. There's a mix of folks that really want to be back, and there's a mix of folks that are still sort of hesitant to go back. And we've seen that through businesses throughout. So I think we've had some pretty good feedback at the college, pretty good support. I did a town hall, I think on August 31st. We had over 500 people show up on the town hall. Excited about what's happening in the fall, excited about what's going to happen this year at SLC. So, I think our culture is doing as well as anyone's after 18 months of being cooped up like this. But no question, you can feel the excitement in the hallways when you walk down the hall, even if you can only see people smile through their eyes, if you know what I mean.
Well said. Thank you, Glenn. All right. Well, that looks like it's all the questions we have for today. So we'll finish off a little bit early, but first I would just like to thank everyone, and thank you again, Glenn, and your team at St. Lawrence College for the insightful presentation and for sponsoring today's session. We hope to see everyone at our next webinar, and actually this ties in very nicely with Martin's question. It's happening next week on Tuesday, October 5th on hybrid workforce legal considerations. So thank you again, and we hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
Great. Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, Karen. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Glenn. Bye-bye.